Hello guys and welcome. I hope that you're well. My name is I play 4K, aka I play 8K, aka I play 16K, or UHD King. During this video, I'm going to show you XEON E5-2699 v3 CPU running on a Chinese motherboard ZX-DU99-D4 version 1.11. This motherboard will be available from any kind of different Chinese brands, but it's going to be the same motherboard, a brown PCB with the black and orange slots on it. It's supporting dual socket 2011 version 3 CPUs, which is XEON E5-2600 series V3 and V4, but V3 CPU is hackable through the BIOS. You can hack this motherboard and you can force the turbo boost highest multiplier on CPU to running constantly, no matter what is the scenario for the CPU, while V4 CPU is not hackable at all. So today I'm going to show you as again the flagship XEON E5-2699 v3 CPU running completely stock without any hack or BIOS modification yet. The reason of this video, I'm going to show you single XEON E5-2699 v3 as a fact, and then I'm going to show you the hacked version of this as a single CPU. Keep in mind that this dual socket motherboard supports one CPU as well, and it's running without any problem. So you can run one CPU or you can run two CPUs, but the same model and the same manufacturer, of course, which is Intel. And but single CPU without any issues. And the hacked or BIOS modification on this particular ZX-DU99-D4 version 1.11 motherboard will be available over the UHDking.com. So if you're looking to build yourself low budget monster workstation that pretty much will have 72 logical cores, and when you're going to take maximum benefit of it in the scenarios when you're going to utilize every single core at 100%, and it's going to happen through a video encoding, video transcoding, or 3D rendering. A lot of 3D rendering application utilizing all available CPU cores, all available CPU threads, or all available CPU logical cores. And the video encoding application will be the one for sure that I'm developing, which will be FFmpeg++, freeware video encoding application, which will give you ability to encode pretty much all kind of videos, as well as supporting the 16K resolution, all the way to 16K resolution video encoding, which will take a lot of benefit when you're going to have as much CPU cores as possible. And the FFmpeg++ freeware application will be based on FFmpeg open source developer library, but it's going to give you that user interface, and everything will be so easy without any commands. You just click the buttons and you can do video encoding, video trimming, video editing as well, simple video editing, and well as again utilizing all the CPU cores available. So today is only 18 physical cores, and hyper threading technology is enabled, which will be 36 threads, so pretty much 36 logical cores. During this video I'm going to show you only 3dMark, application running Firestrike Ultra completely untouched. So this is going to be like a gaming kind of sort of benchmark, so we will have some idea where this CPU will be as a gaming station. But as again, this is the workstation, but it could be all-in-one low budget system, gaming workstation, especially if you your main focus to be a media producer, content creator. This is going to be a great thing, as well as on your free time you would like to play some games. This is for those type of folks, will be amazing system, because pretty much for below $500, including the motherboard and 2 CPUs without the system RAM, you can get as close as possible to the CPU that costs in 2021 $2,000 from AMD, which will be AMD Threadripper 3970X because we're going to bid the AMD Ryzen 9 5950X for sure, and I'm hoping that we're going to bid the AMD Threadripper 3960X, but as again, it's not going to happen with the stock CPUs. I'm talking about the CPUs through the hacked BIOS, through the modified BIOS, when each Xeon E5-2699 V3 flagship for the V3 CPU Xeon C5 will be running, instead of 2.3 gigahertz as designed by the Intel on all the threads utilized at 100%, it's going to run 3.5-3.6 gigahertz. This is the scenario what I'm talking about, and but this is just a simple video running completely stock, so we will have some data and information to compare, guys. So I'm going to start with the Firestrike. Okay, this is going to be the Firestrike. I'm going to run completely stock, as you can see, and I'm also going to overclock my video card. I'm going to overclock my video card to this type of settings, which will be the maximum overclock on air. Today I'm using, as again, not modified Titan RTX video card Turing GPU architecture TU102 GPU by NVIDIA, and it's using dual fan air intaking and exhausting a design air cooler, and also using the NVIDIA thermal solution on this system. Okay, so as you can see, after I'm going to apply this overclock, we're going to see the pixel fill rate will grow, textual fill rate will grow, and bandwidth will go up as well. And pretty much I'm going to boost up my Titan RTX for free with just simple, safe, I'm consider this as safe overclocking. But as again, everything what you see during this video, if you're going to duplicate this, you're doing this on your own risk and expenses. Nobody will compensate you anything. I'm just sharing my experience, guys, so you will know exactly what you're looking at if you're looking at single Xeon E5-2699 V3 CPU, and in this type of scenario, it's running completely stock. This is the performance that you're going to receive completely stock in 3dMark under the Firestrike Ultra, and then I'm going to show you Firestrike running 640 pixels by 480 pixels. Every single visuals preset will be running completely to the minimum, okay, to the lowest possible preset. Let me show you how the 3dMark scored while it was running stock, but without the video recording, because right now I'm recording this video with NVIDIA Shadowplay in real time, so it's consuming some system resources, so the score will be lowered because right now I'm recording the screen not with external professional video recording device, but with the software on the same computer called NVIDIA Shadowplay in real time, so the performance will be lowered. But I'm going to show you as a fact under the video recording this test, but let me show you the score that was without the recording with NVIDIA Shadowplay. Okay, so this is the score without the NVIDIA Shadowplay recording right over here. This is the result that you can look it up yourself right here by visiting this URL. And pretty much what we want to look at, physics score, because the physics score will be the CPU score, at least traditional CPU score for 3dMark benchmarks. But keep in mind, just because I'm going to use 36 logical cores, it's pretty much it's not going to boost it up 36 versus the 18. I believe the maximum utilized cores under the 3dMark will be like 22, something like that. After that point, there is no advantages of the CPU cores, but just in case, so we can compare stock versus the hacked BIOS, same Xeon E5-2699 V3, and then two of them stock and two of them overclocked as well. So this is the score, 9379. Okay, let's go ahead and have a look what we're going to have now. I'm going to go ahead and smash that button. So I overclocked the Titan RTX. You can probably hear the noise. It's kind of noisy right now. Let's go ahead and run the benchmark, and let's go ahead and have a look at the benchmark. How we're going to score, and as you can see, a GPU Z at the left top corner immediately improved the pixel fill rate all the way to 179, from 169 to 179, 10 gigapixels improvement. Textual fill rate improved from 508 gigatexels to 528 gigatexels, 30 gigatexels improvement for free, and bandwidth also improved from 600 80 gigabytes per second to 777 gigabytes per second. For free, not bad. You want to keep your guys eye at the left top corner. It's going to be system information, UHD Kings information, real-time information of my system, of current system, updated every second. Every single digits, every single value of the variables will be correct. Keep that in mind, which is nice. I also improved the information system statistics, and I included the power and voltage for you. So this is how we're going to roll in 2021. As you can see, all the 36 logical cores, which is 18 physical cores plus the hyper-threading technology, another fake kinda 18 virtual cores. And based on the statistics, 3 virtual cores through the hyper-threading technology is equal 1 physical core. So when you're playing some games, you better shut down the hyper-threading technology and better use just the physical cores. But when you're doing 3D rendering or video encoding, when every single thread is counted at 100% utilization, you want to enable any single thread that you can do, hyper-threading threads, whatever, dual socket CPUs, whatever, just to boost it up, that rendering speed of video encoding, or and cut down the time, make time shorter, or 3D rendering time, make it shorter. Hopefully guys this makes sense. But you're only going to benefit when every single thread is utilized at 100% with many cores as you have. And right now the CPU running maximum at 2.3 gigahertz when every single core utilized at 100%. Keep that in mind. But right now, as you can see, it's not utilized at 100% because this is the second visual test of the 3dMark, which will be pretty much mostly utilize the GPU, and it's kind of most of it like a visual test, not on the video card instead of the CPU. But the third test after this test will be the CPU test. It's called the physics test. So whatever you saw that physics numbers is pretty much going to represent the CPU test. Hopefully guys this makes sense. So right now it's going to be the physics test. Here we go. But you're gonna see at the left top corner, we're not going to utilize CPU too much, but we utilize it as best as it could. I just saw 72%, but above 50% utilization. So pretty much 18 physical cores are utilized. So I believe in 3dMark, physics test takes about 18/20 cores at 100%. After that point, after 20 cores, you're not gonna receive any benefits. And if you're going to achieve that above 20 cores with the hyper-threading technology or that virtual cores instead of physical cores, you pretty much you're going to lose the performance if we were going to talk in terms of the FPS in PC gaming. Hopefully guys this makes sense. As again, I'm coming in this in real time as we go, and my tutorial how to pretty much hack or modify the BIOS, how to overclock those Xeons, those 2 Xeons, we can call it like overclock in quotes, but pretty much is modification of the BIOS, hacking the BIOS to force the multiplier. Same thing as overclock. We're going to additionally gain from 2.3 gigahertz per each core to 3.6 per each core when all the 36 threads are working, which is still can be called overclocking because we went from 2.3 gigahertz or all the way to 3.6 gigahertz. Hopefully guys this makes sense. So here we go, real time but with the shadow play recording, so the score will be lower than 9,367, whatever it was before, and it is lowered. As you can see, it's 9,033 points with the shadow play recording. So we lose about 330 points of the score just because I'm recording with NVIDIA shadow play. Okay, let me go ahead and show you the performance, the stats for those who's curious. As again, this is how we're gonna do it, and this is how I done it without the recording as well. Same system, everything was the same. So it's going to be nice just to test with the same system on the same motherboard when the CPU will be hacked to find out what kind of performance we're gonna get. But keep in mind, the hack is kind of free, but maybe for some people it's going to be very scary thing to do, and maybe for some people going to kill their motherboards if they're not going to follow my instructions in multiple episodes videos. Again, this is not one of those episode videos. It's going to be a different episode video, but this is just a demonstration 3dMark. But in those type of episodes, if you're going to follow the instructions, you're going to achieve unbelievable results with those two Xeon's flagships of the V3 XEON E5-2699 series CPUs. Alright guys, so this is what's up, right? And as again, let me real quick go ahead and show you, I didn't show you one more thing. Let me show you one more thing before we will proceed. Let me bring up and explain to you. This is the maximum turbo boost multiplier. This is the scenarios when the turbo boost is applied. Check it out. You can see the cores, you can see the values. With the hyper threading or without the hyper threading, doesn't matter. It just those type of scenarios will be applied. So as you can see, 28 multipliers is applied all the way, starting with 18 cores. Somehow it doesn't do that when you all the 18 cores utilize. It's not 28 multiplier, it's 23 multiplier, 24 multiplier I would say. But the very high multiplier comes with 8 cores, as you can see, which is nice. Much larger window when we're going to compare to the Xeon. Let me actually shut it down 1 second guys. I'm gonna bring back to stock, so you're not gonna hear the Titan RTX 2 fans rotating at 100%, because this is how we did. We were rotating at 100%. But anyways, as you can see, the window of the turbo boost of the higher multiplier is better with the Xeon E5-2699 series V3, especially flagship Xeon E5-2699 series V3, which is 2699 V3, versus the flagship of the Xeon E5-2699 series V2, which was the 2697 V2 CPU that I also tested for you, and a lot of tests available, gaming tests, application test over the EVGAking.com. Go ahead and check it out. But the window starts, guys, with the higher cores, as you can see, and it's kind of higher frequency, starting with 8 cores, which is 22.9 gigahertz with 8 cores, simply 8 cores, and 6 cores. 2 cores can go when only 2 cores enable, and everything else is disabled under the BIOS. It's going to hold 3.6 gigahertz. Amazing, versus 2.3 gigahertz. So on all cores and all threads. So when you're playing games, you want to lower in the BIOS of this motherboard or any other motherboard the core count, disable some cores to achieve the higher frequency, because the higher turbo boost multiplier will be used automatically by that motherboard. If motherboard is not hacked, if it default settings by Intel. So 2 cores 36 multiplier, wow, because the 2697 V2 Xeon E5 was running only 1 core at 36 multiplier and 2 cores at 35. Over here, next generation of the Xeon E5 flagships, they gave us a 2 cores at 36 multiplier. Nice. But with the hacked modified BIOS, all of these cores can run 36 multiplier, which is amazing. Okay, anyways, let me show you real quick, guys. I know there is a lot of information, but a lot of beginners watching this, and I'm trying to provide as much information as possible. This is the IDA 64 when we're going to compare GPU versus the CPU when Titan RTX was running stock. This is the closest possible performance comparison. We're talking the GPU was rendering, was using the OpenCL while it was rendering, and a CPU was using the x64-bit heavy machine code, which is faster than C++. So this is the fastest result for the CPU versus the GPU, and we can compare. But no matter what kind of scenario, GPU will be always faster by at least 5-6 times, no matter how many cores you're going to have. But it's nice to see it, because when I'm going to use 2 of the Xeons, it's nice to see how they're going to perform, okay, versus the GPU. But as again, Titan RTX will be always dominator. This is the IDA 64 cache benchmark. Even if it says, guys, that the quad channel, as you can see on memory, over here it says dual channel, but it is dual channel. Even if over here it says quad channel, it's the dual channel. On this particular motherboard, Chinese motherboard, I believe it's chipset C612. Even if Chinese people saying it's dual X99 chipset, but I don't believe so. I believe it's a Intel C612 server chipset for dual socket 2011 version 3 and version 4. And I believe they tricked the through the BIOS the CPU Z and saying the quad channel, but it's not the quad channel. Even if I'm running 4 sticks, 32 gigabytes each, 4 times 4 sticks, maximum 4 slots on this motherboard, and maximum 32 gigabytes of the UDIMM. This is unbuffered DIMM, unbuffered system RAM or system memory, not the register ECC server memory. This motherboard can take the regular desktop gaming memory, guys, and it's amazing. I'm using the best one, 32 gigs times 4, 128 gigs per this CPU maximum allocated that we can do in terms of the UDIMM. And Chinese people told me that this motherboard support maximum 256 gigabytes, even if the IDA's showing 192 gigabytes, but I believe that board supports 256 gigabytes total system RAM, because each CPU, as you can see, accepted 128 gigabytes. And you can only achieve quad channel, guys, on this memory, quad channel data transfer only when you're running 2 CPUs. With 2 CPUs it's possible, but with single it will always running dual channel, even if you're using 4 sticks of your system RAM. So it should be, but it's a great results. But as again, this 3200 MHz CL16 DDR4 running 2133 MHz CL15, and this is how it's going to run, guys. This CPU by default not going to go above 2133 megahertz. You can achieve it in the BIOS, but this BIOS has some problems to adjust the DDR4 timing, keep that in mind. But maybe on some ASUS, MSI, some other motherboards, on the X99, on a single XEON E5-2699 v3, you probably can achieve it, and you also can overclock it through the BCLK frequency. This BIOS doesn't have adjustment on the BCLK frequency. Of course, I can modify it in the BIOS when I'm going to hack the BIOS, but as again, I'm not advising you to do that, because the performance maximum will be like 3-5%, but you can convert your motherboard into the brick by destroying it. And I'm not sure how well the transistors on this motherboard, how well the power distribution, so I'm not going to overclock through the BCLK frequency or readjust the BIOS for the higher frequency on the DDR4. I'm going to keep it everything as stock. Only I'm going to force the highest multiplier on the turbo boost, and I'm going to run 36 multiplier, 100% utilization on each core without going to 2.3 gigahertz 23 multiplier. Hopefully, guys, this makes sense. Alright, so this is how it's scored, as you can see, and this is how it's scored under the CPU-Z multi-thread benchmark. It's 21 times, almost 22 times. So that means that all these 36 threads only seen as 21 physical cores, completely 100% scaling. Okay, so pretty much 18 physical cores will be scoring like 16 physical cores as in terms of real-time performance, and additional, so 16 cores, and additional 18 logical cores through the hyper-threading technology, which is the fake cores but still virtual cores, will be, I would say, what we have from 16, we have 5 cores to go. So I would say the scoring, guys, 3.5 hyper-threading cores that we adding through the hyper-threading technology is equal 1 physical core. Hopefully, guys, this makes sense. This is applied for this particular CPU, and I would say it's going to apply to all 2600 series V3. Okay, V2 will be a little bit slower than that in terms of the cores utilization as well. Keep that in mind. This is just a theory, but also in practice it was about the same. But in practice, when I'm using all the way to 4 cores, and 8 cores was disabled on my Xeon flagship E5-2697 v2, the scaling was 4 times perfect, 100% on the 4 cores. But after 8 cores, the scaling went down a little bit, and this was the time when Intel was struggling to go above 12 cores in 2014, 2013. So this is a great achievement, by the way. But achievement is great, and especially on this motherboard, dual socket, those 72 logical cores will be performing way well, guys, especially through the BIOS hack or modification. Okay, so I showed you everything what you need to see. So what we're gonna do now, I'm going to go ahead and utilize the let me bring up all the cores for those naysayers. I'm going to show you all the 36 cores. And what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to utilize do kind of fake-ish CPU benchmark, and I'm going to run the Fire Strike as I promised to you, but it's going to be Fire Strike with the lowest possible presets, just like that. And I already ran it, and let me show it to you what was the score. This was the score when I ran it, guys. So 18,528 physical score. So this is completely CPU score, but as again above 20 cores, it doesn't give any advantages at all. So pretty much almost the same as Fire Strike Ultra. Okay, when I was running at hair slower, hair faster, when I was running completely every single visual details at minimum possible. Okay, this is the scores, guys, without the shadow play recording, and now we're going to go ahead and run with the shadow play recording and recording in real time. As again, let me overclock the Titan RTX as again. This is how I was running without the recording as well. And let's go ahead and now look, guys. And as again, right now we're going to utilize more of our CPU cores, but as again, even at lowest possible preset, 3dMark is not going to utilize even the 18 cores at 100% every single core. And with the 36 logical cores, of course, the utilization will be not as good as we're looking to have it at 640 by 480, but we're going to utilize less of our GPU, so less video card in theory will be utilized, but we're going to find out this is not going to be the case. So even at 640 by 480 pixels, our Titan RTX will be utilized at 100%. That means that we're going to utilize the video card fully as the way it is. So the best CPU benchmark will be that physical score. Okay, but for our case, I'm just going to hack the CPU, and on the same system I'm going to bench it again. It's going to fly. But in your case, even when you're going to bench it at 640 by 480, as you can see, GPU utilized at 100%. That means actually not the 100%, I'm sorry, it's utilizing below 50%. So but it still means that if you're going to use a little bit faster video card, there is a possibility with more CUDA cores or shader cores, there is a possibility score will be higher. So the best thing to look at physics score. Okay, but I decided to go ahead and show it to you anyways, just for our same system but with different frequencies, just to find out how well we're going to improve when I'm going to compare. So it's going to be for the comparison purposes. Hopefully, guys, this makes sense. So first graphical test is went fine, and second graphic test, and then it's going to be the physics score, as again the CPU score. Okay, guys, hopefully you're enjoying that. As again, this is not the episode of that hacking modifying tutorial on this motherboard for single or dual CPUs. That type of episodes will be 5 or 7 episodes, and as again, it's going to be available over the EVGAking.com. But this is some information for you, because I'm going to bench the games on this system. I'm going to do the all kind of different benchmarks. So this is just information in general for you, just for this particular topic, which is 3dMark. How well the XEON E5-2699 v3 performs with the modern video card from 2019, which was the flagship even in 2020 till the third quarter of 2020. How well it performs in 3dMark. Let's go ahead and find out. But guys, I can assure you this is a great CPU as workstation, even the single one. But if you can afford 2 of them, this is exactly where you're going to benefit. 2 of those XEON E5-2699 v3 and dual socket motherboard. You can buy a much more expensive motherboard, which is not going to be Chinese motherboard, and it's probably going to cost you $200 for used, $300 for used motherboard dual socket. But you can buy the Chinese motherboard, and it's going to be $100-$150 in like brand new status, and it's going to be amazing. And this particular motherboard, guys, has a great quality. I really like the thick PCB. The PCB is like a gigabyte with additional OZ of copper into it. It feels like that, and very thick PCB. I really like the quality. Look like great capacitors on it, and yeah, I advise you to go ahead and go with this motherboard, even for dual socket 2699 v3 CPUs. Even if people who review dual socket 2600 series v3 CPU are not advising for the top flagships like 16 cores, 18 cores, v3 XEON E5 are not advising for dual socket this motherboard, but I do advise this motherboard. I don't see what's the reason why not to advise it, because it just, what's the point to run 8 cores or 18 cores? It doesn't matter, guys. The temperature will be almost the same. All what you gotta do, just put a big fan. Right now I'm running the 200mm cooler master on top of the motherboard, because I'm water cooling the CPU with the Corsair H150i Pro water cooler, just like on the picture you saw. So the power distribution on the left side and the right side of every socket is getting so hot, and it's getting all the way with this CPU to 76, 78 Celsius. This is very hot under 100% load. But when you're adding that fan, then Celsius is just flying away immediately. And or just a couple little fans, just add very close to the power distribution, and power distribution will be on the side of each socket. You will see that's covered with a black radiator. Sometimes it's going to black and orange radiator. So as again, it depends what kind of brand you're gonna get this motherboard, but the motherboard will be the same. All those Chinese brands, they're just putting their stickers. Okay, so this is how we scored, guys. This is how we scored. As you can see, it's custom score, graphics score, physics score, and combined score with the shadow play. And I already showed you how we score without the shadow play recording. So pretty much, guys, we covered everything what you need to see. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Let me put my video card back to stock so we're not gonna hear that noise. And yeah, hopefully, guys, you are enjoying this video. And as again, this is on the picture exactly the system that I was testing with the H150i Pro water cooler. I'm not advising you to buy the Corsair. Yeah, it's looking great. I mean, it's going to look great when your friend's going to look at for a couple minutes, but then it's going to be in the case, nobody going to care about it. I'm advising you, if you're looking to get 360mm radiator for each CPU, I advise you to pay half of the money instead of $169 for the Corsair H150i Pro. I advise you to go ahead and grab yourself InnerMax, LiquidMax 360mm radiator, the same, almost the same performance water cooling system, but that system costs $89 on Amazon. I'm going to include, guys, the link when you can purchase same performance water cooler, but not from the Corsair, but InnerMax, that's going to give you the same performance for half of the price. I'm going to put my Honey link, and over there my discount, 89 bucks. And this is how I would do it if I would go to water cooled systems, and pretty much they will never leak. And for 2 CPUs, put those 2 InnerMax, LiquidMax 360 radiators, AAO water cooling systems is going to be great, guys. But you need to have a great case, so you need to make sure that you have a full tower case. And of course, for the server, for the render firm, why not? And this is going to be my render firm that I'm testing, but it's not completed yet, with those 2 XEON E5-2699 V3 CPUs, 72 logical cores. It's going to be Morozilla rendering firm version 2. Version 1 was XEON E5-2699 V2 single CPU. And I'm hoping, guys, that in 8K resolution through the FFmpeg++ application, video encoding freeware application that I'm developing, my frames per second while I'm going to encode the 8K resolution video in real time will increase to around 12-18 FPS on stock frequencies, and around 16-22 FPS when those 2 Xeons will be overclocked through the hack of the BIOS or modification of the BIOS. This is what I'm hoping for, and it's going to be amazing. But I just want to let you know that a single XEON E5-2697 V2 producing around 4 FPS in 8K resolution. Keep that in mind. Alright, so I showed you the 3dMark. Hopefully, guys, you enjoyed that. More as again test benchmarks are coming out over the UHDking.com. More gaming benchmark are coming out of this workstation as well, for those people who's looking to build all-in-one system. Don't forget to smash that like button. A lot of time, money, energy was invested. As again, my name is I Play 4K, aka I Play 8K, aka I Play 16K, or UHD King. Hopefully I shared a lot of information during these short videos. Don't forget, as again, to check out the complete video tutorials, video information, completely video material over the UHD King regarding this 2699 V3 or 2 2699 V3 CPUs on this motherboard. Is going to be amazing. share it with your friends, smash that like button, subscribe for more great content, and I will see you guys in the next videos. Stay well, stay healthy, stay safe, till the next time.